What's up, everybody? Tommy here, Math Productions, and we're feeling good, right? Woohoo! We finally finished up the Ryujin Industries Faction Questline. We got us a neuro amp, so we have the ability to manipulate NPCs, and we got us some credits. We got us a really good operative suit and helmet, which makes us a lot more difficult to detect when we're in that stealth mode, and we're making a name for ourselves, right? We've already started making a name for ourselves, showing out for the Crimson Fleet. We were selected by Delgado themselves to help out with the personal mission down to the lock facility, and before the date of that mission, that's when we got involved with Ryujin, trying to just make some quick credits. Ended up making a name for ourselves in Neon, quickly becoming probably the top operative, not just currently with Ryujin, but probably in at least a while. We helped root out some traitorous individuals and activity. We helped clear the name of an innocent person who was set up to take the fall for those traitorous activities, and we made things at least a little bit better in my mind for a lot of people, specifically those employed with Infinity LTD. We made sure that they, in the acquisition by Ryujin, were not out of job and were given a new opportunity moving forward. And we also made sure, lastly, with our time at Ryujin directly, we made sure to convince everybody on the board of directors that the Project Dominion NeuroAmp technology was far too dangerous to risk ever getting into the wrong hands, right? So again, that's why we started out the video celebrating. We've done a lot of good, good from our perspective. Some of our actions from another perspective maybe is debatable. But again, that's kind of one of the fun themes of this game, right? Is the rule of two, I think they call it at one point in the story. We won't get too much into the spoilers on that right now, since we haven't got there yet in this playthrough specifically. But one of my favorite things about this game is that idea, and exploring that idea of just because person one sees something a certain way, what happens when the second person sees it in a different way, right? But what we're doing here on our way with the story is, if you didn't notice at the beginning, after our actions at the end of the Ryujin quest line, the poison gas that was pumped into Infinity LTD, while it was awesomely effective at clearing that building out of civilians, so that way we didn't need to put innocent people in unnecessary danger, it also did give us an affliction in our lungs. And it gave us a pretty gnarly cough that keeps happening. When those coughs happen, it can ruin stealth, but it also takes away your oxygen. It was just on the lower left corner of the screen. If you pop back to just before that last dialogue prompt with the doctor occurred, you'll be able to see it there specifically. But Simeon, who we had just recruited for the last of the Ryujin Industries questline, Simeon let us know, hey, there's this colony out in Alpha Tirna and Alpha Tirna 2, and it's called Mordice, and there is a doctor there. Simeon's known him for a long time. He absolutely has faith in that doctor's ability, and luckily for us, that doctor specializes in respiratory afflictions. So on Simeon's advice, we absolutely hopped in our ship, made it past Neon out to Alpha Tirna, and we arrived at Mordice. When we arrived there, it's a beautiful settlement. It was originally established by Argos as a mining operation. Argos has since kind of left the hub, if you will. They do still have a little bit of an operation left in the colony, but it's primarily now just occupied by those former workers that were brought in to build everything up. Or that maybe worked in the manufacturing plant specifically, but have stayed on and continued to build Mordice into what you see on screen. There are tons of commercial vendors and shops. There is still a ton of manufacturing and mining going on. It's a thriving little settlement for sure. However, we were going to take a quick rest overnight before heading on, probably back to Neon next, when I was woken up in the middle of the night by Simeon and by Ezekiel saying, hey, Mordice is under attack. We need to get up and try to help these people out. So that's what we did. We rushed up. We went over and met up with the locals at the Outpost beacon before getting into a good position. And we basically just watched as this colony really banded together and stood up against these attacking mercenaries, Ecliptic and 1st Cavalry. And spoilers, they ultimately end up holding their own and holding off this attack. I can't help but feel responsible for the attack, especially when I saw the Ecliptic, because of some of the actions that we have just done with Ryujin Industries. We have come into direct contact and direct opposition with some bands of Ecliptic mercenaries, and I can't help but think this is the Ecliptic probably gathering their own mercenaries and joining forces, and that's why they joined forces with the 1st Cavalry mercenaries that we see here. But they probably got the drop on us coming to Mordice and are looking for a little bit of revenge for us stopping their own people when we were doing what we were doing with Ryujin. Again, about that theory of two, right, or the law of two, we were doing right. We were stopping the bad guys, but for them, we were harming their operations and taking out their team members. I think a little bit of payback is what they were going for. But ultimately, we do eventually find all of the remaining threats, and we eliminate all of the remaining threats. There's one more hiding in here. My dude Ezekiel, look at that. Literally charged in and took out the last one before we could. Ezekiel is a beast. I highly encourage. Dude is free. So, like, just talking Tommy to viewer, go to Aquila City. Go to that bar in Aquila City. Not the first one at the entrance, but the one over in the less well-off area. And there's 2 companions in there. Ezekiel is free, and he's awesome. I absolutely enjoy playing with Ezekiel. Simeon, not free. Definitely cost a few credits, but absolutely worth it. His abilities in the field are fantastic, and I really just like playing with Simeon. I don't know why. The last bit of lore that we're including about Simeon is that new xeno at the beginning of the video that you saw, that crab-like creature with the really long front arms. And gameplay, the way we're playing it, that buddy was Simeon's. That was his xeno pet. And since we recruited Simeon and he's hanging out with us now at our Nisoi hideout, that's where his creature's hanging out too. But I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, I hope you press the like button. I hope you consider subscribing to the channel. There is a lot more content on the way. Definitely let me know down below in the comments what you think, what you'd like to see next. And as always, I hope you take care.